Well, let's talk about something else you had there because I want people to realize it is a different line item, right? So we talked about origination fee and all of that, but there's
Mhm.
also something often called an underwriting fee,
Right.
right? When I look at an underwriting fee, this is to me again just one guy's opinion, not in the industry. That's basically
Right.
paying for the people to process the file, right? It's not really a profit engine, at least
Right.
for most shops I've seen, but they are trying to
Right.
cover their cost of employing those people, moving the file, kind of putting
Right.
it all together, follow up, all of that stuff. Is that fair underwriting fee?
100%. So there's costs associated with the transaction from, your loan origination all the way to funding that we kind of talk about to make, so that the first time buyer understands exactly what they're walking into. So loan professional charging origination points, sometimes a processing fee, depending upon how big their office is or who they got as far as processing your file. In addition to that, when they send that file off to the lender may have a processing fee and or underwriting fee, depending upon how they're structured and how many, moving parts are in their system to, get that loan from submission to funding as far as, setting up the file, processing the file, drawing docs and funding the file and everything in between. And then once it gets to, the title officer or closing agent, then they have your title fees and things of that nature. And last but not least, at least as it pertains to my loans, there's also what we call impounds that are going to be need to be collected. So it's
Please.
almost like prepaid interest, but
Yeah.
it's really just prepaying your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance into an account that's going to be utilized to pay that portion of your, property taxes and your insurance in monthly incremental payments. And so that's what that is for. So again, just so they understand exactly every full scope of all
Yeah.
costs, not only fees, then there's, obviously prepaid, postpaid interest. We could talk about that too, maybe in the second video, because I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
moving parts to all this, but I just wanted to give them like a brief, real general scope of like origination, lender fees, title, and then impounds, because that's the major stuff.
Yeah, the other two fees that I want to get on, just again, try to give that first time home buyer a full coverage is right. You sign a contract, you get an escrow's open, you
Yes.
start doing all this. Uh,
Right.
you're going to pay for an appraisal,
Right.
right? You as the buyer will have to come out of pocket for the appraisal. And that's usually five,
Right.
$600, whatever it is. If it's a house, if it's an apartment building, it could be thousands of dollars. But mostly
Right.
people are buying homes. But you are going to pay for that, and you will pay for that right up front. Even if the loan doesn't
Right.
go through, even if the escrow
Right.
closes, that
Yeah.
appraisal is money out of pocket. Is that fair?
100%. Also be aware of certain, I don't know, I guess middlemen, or I don't know how you want to call, or sometimes private lenders or any other kind of outfit that's presenting themselves in that light. As far as like upfront other fees where they would call junk fees or things of that nature.
Yeah.
You're not going
Yeah.
to want to do that because typically by the time, they may quote you one thing, but then when they come back to something else, now you've invested time, but not only time, but, a lot of money into the process. So usually, typically speaking, industry standard, the only thing that's really necessary is the appraisal. Cause that's once we all know that the value's there. Yeah. Everybody will spend the money to
Yeah.
get to the finish line. But until then, you shouldn't have to come out of pocket other than that appraisal.
Yeah, it's just the appraisal